Hi everyone, I am Shan.
And I am Tam. This is the Real Talk Podcast.
On this podcast, we have some candid conversations between us about love, family, faith, relationships, parenting, work-life balance, and everything in between.
We invite you to not only listen, but interact with us and our guests as we have some real
Talk.
Shan and Tam fam, we are back again with another episode of Real Talk, the podcast. And today we have a very special guest, one that I can't even begin to introduce, but I will attempt to anyhow. And I hope that you will be pleasantly surprised and will enjoy this conversation that we're about to have. So we have with us Glenda Miller, who is a business owner, entrepreneur, a mom, a wife, just a soul giver. She is a volunteer extraordinaire, an accomplished and awarded Kiwanian. And, I call her a philanthropist. Because of her giving nature. And I think the most special accolade that she has is that she's my mommy. So, fam, I hope that you will just enjoy this conversation with my mom, Glenda, that we're going to have. And today we're really talking about the giving of oneself. We're talking about volunteerism and, what that means and what we get out of it. And we're just hoping that this conversation will encourage someone to find themselves in a space too where they are able to give up themselves. So, Mom, how are you? Happy to have you.
I am so happy and privileged to be on your podcast.
Oh.
I consider this an honor to be on this international platform.
You're not Sean, we international.
Manure, big
Yes,
things.
it is. It's all over the world. So I just want to thank you for inviting me. And I hope that our little conversation will be something that will inspire you
Yes.
and your listeners.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking the time. So I'll start off with the first sort of question that I have that I want you to share with the listeners. And that is, what motivates you to have this giving spirit and heart of yours? Because I've known you to be just that person that's giving of yourself in every way, and your affiliation with the Kiwanis Club has sort of even brought that to another level, which is really an international level. So what motivates you?
Well, first to begin with, Tam, I have to tell you about my mother. Because right now I'm living in the memory of my mother. My mother was a giving person. She was a caring person. So I grew up seeing her caring for others in the community. When you go to visit her, or even when we were children, sometimes she's missing. You can't find your mom. Where is she? She's at someone's house. She's taking some porridge, or she's taking some food, some lunch, or
Something.
She's taking something. And when we were growing up, we didn't even know that was service. We didn't realize. We were sometimes very angry that you can't find your mom. But then, as you grow older, you realize that, oh my God, what she was doing was giving up herself.
Yeah, she was selfless.
Yes. So that in itself has motivated me over the years to live in her memory. She passed 2003. And with that being said, 2013.
Yeah, 2013.
2013. With that being said, I am more driven to live in her memory. You know, when I joined Kiwanis, I was just invited to a meeting. It was just a meeting I was invited to. I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yes.
But then as I got into going to the meetings and attending projects, I realized what my purpose is.
Okay.
And my purpose, as I have seen it, is to care and to give.
Yes.
And you know, what is motivating me to carry on this, as you call it, philanthropic attitude, is the glee and the glitter that you see in the beneficiaries when you would.
Oh yes. The smiles and the gratitude, right?
Yes, that smile on that child's face, because Kiwanis is more into kids, especially 0 to 5 year old.
Right.
Yes.
Those babies, when you really do a treat with them, when you care for them, it inspires you so much that you really want to go back and give back. You know, I realize that service is a giving back attitude.
Right.
It is, we describe it as the earthly rent that you continue to pay.
Wow. Yeah.
Gift that God has given you.
Yeah.
The mercy and the blessings that God has given you. And for that, for the blessing that God has bestowed on myself, on my family, and on my friends, I think giving back in this way, that's the only way I know how.
Real talk.
Real talk. Okay. Yeah.
That's amazing, Mom. And it's interesting how, you know, you're kind of continuing the legacy of your own mom, right? Because you saw her, even though you may not have understood the impact she was making at the time when you were younger, but she lived a life of service in her small way that she was doing it. And it's interesting to see how generation to generation, and now you're doing that, and how many lives you have impacted with the different initiatives that you're doing, right? And it really goes to say children really live what they learn, right? Because you grew up in an environment where your mother was a giver. So ultimately, you grew up with that in you to say, I have to do that as well too. So that's amazing, right? That's amazing. And I like what you said, you know, it's the gratitude that you see on these children's face and the families, right? That gives you that motivation and that push to keep on going.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, and I always describe my attitude towards service as, look at this. I'm going to paint a picture. Running across a meadow or running across a playing field with the wind blowing in your face and your hair is tossed and turned and your arms are outstretched and you're just enjoying the moment of just running and accepting what is being thrown or tossed at you through the winds. That's what I experience. That's what I experience when I serve.
And that is like, I can feel it as you're talking about it. Like, who doesn't want to have that, you know, feeling of joy, of even freedom? It gives you a sense of just freedom and fulfillment to just be able to embrace all of that, like you said, the wind coming at you,
feeling free.
Yeah, feeling free and feeling and feeling grateful too, because that picture in my mind conjures up gratitude, because it's almost as if, oh, I'm giving thanks for everything that I have here, right? Including life, right? Including life. And it is because you have life that you actually are able to give and to extend yourself to others, right? And something Shan said about the how the generation continues, like how you inspire other generations. Because I know for me personally, just having looked at, observed you over the years, at first too, it's interesting that you said that you as a child, you couldn't understand where your mother was, or why she have to gone here so now, or what she gonna do. And I remember thinking those things when I was much younger too, right? Because I remember, some of the meetings or the projects and stuff that you got involved in and had to do. Yeah, you weren't available to, if in every instance that I felt that you should be, or you weren't home when you should be. And I'm like, why she have to go on this so again? And why, you know what I mean? But as I've grown and matured, and I've seen the impact that your service makes on the lives of others, it's inspired me to
start
in
giving
my
back.
own way, not necessarily the way that you do it, but in my own way also. I feel that's that has encouraged the growth in me to be able to give of myself as well. And I would hope that my children now see that, observing you, as well as being able to observe the little that I do, and also be inspired to have that nature, right?
Because it does have a great impact, right? Because even to that, I like just recently, Paige was talking about her most memorable trip.
Oh yes,
and she
I
spoke
forgot
about
that.
she spoke about the treat in Jamaica, which shows that they're watching and they're learning, right? And they truly
value.
Like I said, children live what they learn, and they value things like that, right? And even for King, he's always talking about the backpack event that we do and give back to the kids in Jamaica, right? So it's for us now to nurture that in them, to say, listen, we live in a very selfish world, but you have to give back as well. You have to give back, and you cannot be selfish, right? You have to give back no matter how small it is, right?
Yes. And it's interesting that Tamara said that, sometimes she was wondering, why do I have to do this and why do I have to do that? And it was just recently I was thinking to myself, I am really wondering whether my children, I was giving enough to them when I started my volunteerism. And I wondered, I know now that Tamara may have realized what I was getting into, but sometimes I wonder if my son, what was he thinking?
What was his thoughts?
Going up and down with me, and even now they're asking, you remember that little boy that you used to take to this whatever? So you sometimes reflect to say, I wonder if I gave up myself, was it enough? But I know that at the end of the term, I know I have seen God's blessing, and I know that it is as a result of my attitude towards people, the service that I give. I know that I have been blessed, and I know that it has been passed down to my children and my children's children, and I know it will be passed to my children's children. You talk about inspiration, that intrinsic reward. I mean, when you look in my office, I have so many plaques, and even at home, and I keep saying, I don't need any more plaques. Whatever you're going to be giving to me, give so that I can give to somebody.
Right.
That intrinsic reward that you get is more than all these plaques that are strewn across my wall. To see those faces, to see when you would have taken a wheelchair and it lights up that old man's face.
Yes.
Kids that don't want to let go of your feet. There's no words can describe the feeling that you get, the feeling that I get to doing those service to those kids and to indigent.
Yeah, and I think you
That's
just
amazing.
actually
Mhm.
answered the question that I was going to ask you, that like, what do you think what to you has been the greatest reward? But that is, I guess,
That it is right there.
That is it
Mhm.
right there, right? That you've received by giving of yourself in the way that you have. And I know too, like personally for me, there's nothing like it when you give something to somebody and you know that it is
Needed.
appreciated,
Yeah.
it is needed, and it is not to say that you're even getting, it is not even to say that you're getting
Mhm.
like the thanks or any type of
You're looking for
accolade for it. You
anything.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? But just to know that you have filled a need
Mhm.
You
is
have filled
something,
a need.
yeah, is something special. I know that.
Yeah. Listen to me, man. When them old people, when you visit them and you take anything for them, and then hold up your hand and say, God bless you.
Mm.
Bless you. You don't want no dinner for the rest of the day.
You're
Oh,
full.
Want no
yes.
dinner. That is enough.
Oh,
That is
wow.
enough. You are filled.
Yes.
You know?
And something else that comes to mind for me as you're talking too is that something that Shan always says, that she wants to die empty. I picture
Mhm.
that for you. And
Mhm.
as you're talking about it in terms of, what you do and giving and helping people the way that you do, it's almost as if I see you emptying yourself
Yeah.
for everything that you've been given, um, like your
The
blessings,
service.
and yeah, just through service. So that is another powerful picture for me that says, when you die, you need to die empty, because
Absolutely.
you would have given everything that you had.
Yes. You
Yeah.
would have fulfilled your purpose.
Yes.
Mhm.
As we have discussed in previous discussions of our book
If
club,
our book club, yes.
Mhm.
that our purpose, we can have several purposes.
Hmm.
Mm.
But I believe one of my major purpose is to fill up the lives of people with happiness.
Real talk.
Real talk.
I look back and I look back on some of the achievements that my club has made over the years,
Mm.
and my initiating some of these projects that fill up the lives of people.
Mm.
There are so many. There are so many projects that we have done that when you look back at it, you can only sit back and smile.
Mhm.
We look at the playground effect.
Yeah, that was
Yes,
a
I was
major
thinking
one.
about that.
Hmm.
Mhm.
When I think about the playground effect, even now, we can look at it as your like your podcast, because
Hmm.
Mhm.
people all over the world, it was exposed to people all over the world, and every now and then I get a call to say, Glenda, how did you do that playground,
Hmm.
and how
Mhm.
did you go about it?
And tell the listeners just a little bit about what that means. What is the playground effect?
Oh, well, as I as I climbed to the top of my division as the chief officer, as the lieutenant governor for the division 25, which encompasses 5 parishes in the western section of Jamaica.
Hmm.
It was my desire to have a project done by all the clubs, the 14 clubs that we had then. And what had inspired me to think of a project like this was when
Mm.
I would have gone to North America or to Canada. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
definitely Canada, and visiting my grandchildren at school and see the lovely facilities that they have. And I'm
Mhm.
saying to myself, why can't we have that in Jamaica, in the western section of Jamaica? So I thought about it and I said, this is going to be my dream. I'm not going to allow Martin Luther King to only dream. Person who dreams, I want to dream too. Dreamt of having playgrounds in all the schools, especially the infant and basic schools in the western section. So we came up with that project. And the playground effect is actually a threefold project. But the major part of it was to install playgrounds in the schools to have them certified as early childhood institutions.
Okay.
So we had done, I initiated that project with the Early Childhood Commission, and we found out that over 35% of schools did not have playground equipment, which is
Mm.
one of the criteria for certification as an early childhood institution.
Wow.
So with the help of
Mm.
corporate Jamaica and some folks from Canada too, assisted us in putting this project together. And it was a fantastic project. Every time I
Awesome.
think about it, I gleam, not because it was conceptualized by myself and my other teammates, because we came on board, everybody came on board with that project, and it filled the lives of the children. So we installed swings and monkey bar and seesaw, and in the mix of it, we had a parenting workshop,
Okay.
educating parents as to how do you assist in caring for and maintenance of the playground with the help of this respective Kiwanis clubs. So I can recall, so we installed not only 14 playgrounds, but we installed 16 playgrounds across the western section of
Oh, wow, that's great.
and I can remember one of my favorite memories of this playground was when we went to Mountainside in St. Elizabeth, and we were commissioning that playground, and we had ice cream and cake and sandwiches and so we were calling all the children just before we allowed them to go and play. And we were walking around gathering them up, and then we saw about four of them, like they were hiding. And we said, come, you don't want ice cream? No, they don't want no ice cream. What is it that you want? Come on, ice cream and cake is here. And think, no, miss, we want to go on this swing.
Oh.
Swing.
Yeah.
And that in itself has gotten me to a space where I must continue this project, because it filled the lives, it made them smile. They just want to play. And we realized that playing is their job.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're babies. Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's the agenda.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that in itself has been one of my most memorable initiatives
Uh,
in Kiwanis.
yeah, that's awesome.
Great. Thanks for sharing. And it really shows you're truly leaving a legacy, right?
Mhm.
That is your legacy, and you're impacting so many lives. And, just for me, even seeing you from the outside to say that and hearing you, I can see that it brings you so much joy, which is a good thing.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
So it's been awesome talking to you.
Yeah.
We hope that someone will be inspired to think about, what can I do for someone?
To give back.
Yeah, what can I do to give back of myself? And, talking about the playground, I mean, for listeners who may be in the North America or those more developed countries, we might want to initially think that a playground, like that, those are things that we take for granted, that it's just a natural part of our infrastructure. But for a Jamaican child in a rural area that doesn't have the resources for their learning institution, or doesn't even for their institution to not even be recognized as a certified one, it makes a vast difference. So we can stop to also look around at, what seems like something insignificant to us that could be something major
for somebody else.
And have a major impact on someone else's life, and try to do that.
So thank you so much, Glenda, for speaking with us. Mom, Glenda, Auntie, so many names. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and for just, really, really showing us that, sometimes it's not all about you. You have to make impact into other people's lives. So thank you so much for that. And just for the viewers, let us know what you think about this. What does giving mean to you, right? And selflessly giving of yourself. Share with a friend, drop us a comment, or let us know any topics that you would love for us to talk about. Until then, Tam and I will be back with some more guests and some more good conversations. So thank you so much, Mom, for speaking with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we'll talk to you later, fam. Bye. Take care.
Don't forget to visit Shan and Tam on all their social media websites. At Sisters Shan and Tam on Instagram, Shan Tam Lodge-Lee on Facebook, and check out their blogs at shanandtam.blogspot.com. Tune in again next time on Real Talk.